This documentary was recorded during the last 10 days of the blessed month of Ramadan, at the time of the fighting between the Afghan Defense Forces and the Pakistani military regime.
When the rays of the sun spread across the country's towering mountains, the defensive trenches of the homeland are already awake on mountain peaks, in narrow valleys, and at key positions across the plains. Afghan defense forces stand alert and fully prepared, yet behind these same mountains along the hypothetical line the flames of conflict have once again been ignited in recent days.
Alhamdulillah, Pakistan
The sounds of artillery, the explosions of mortars, and the constant concern of people living under the shadow of war all paint a picture of deep unrest. To witness this situation up close, we began our journey from Kabul to Khost province to see firsthand how the aggression of the Pakistani military regime on Afghan soil has affected the lives of ordinary people.
We are heading toward Khost province, where Afghan civilians are being targeted by the Pakistani military regime. They are carrying out bombardments, and mortars and bullets are being fired at civilians, causing many martyrs. As a result of these mortar attacks and bombardments, many people have been forced to migrate from areas near the disputed border and move to other regions. We are also presenting the operation Rad al-Zulm, opposing tyranny, carried out by Afghan brave forces along the disputed Durand border.
Kabul, Khost highway, mountains, valleys, long roads, and a land that has endured countless trials throughout history along the way. Signs of life are still visible, markets are open, and people continue with their daily routines. When we arrived in Khost city, we observed a different picture. Despite reports of fighting near the hypothetical line, normal life continues inside the city. Markets are crowded, shops are open, and people are busy with their everyday affairs. Residents say that defending the country is not only the duty of the army but a shared responsibility of every Afghan, and they stand alongside their defense forces in this regard. However, as we move closer to the hypothetical line, the scene changes. We are now on our way to the Ali Shir district of Khost province. Ali Shir, located near the line, is one of the districts that has suffered heavy human and financial losses due to mortar shelling by the Pakistani military regime. Destroyed homes, collapsed roofs, and shells that have struck civilian houses. These are clear and documented signs of these attacks.
These people were martyred by the apostate regime of Pakistan, and this apostate turned the mortars toward this side. There were children and women. These people were in the process of leaving when they fired these weapons, and people were buried under the walls. They were very close to escaping, but they did not make it out. Shells were fired from above. They struck the upper areas, and on this side more women were martyred. As for the children who were injured, there is still no complete information about how many more are wounded. Communication is still cut off, and there is no information from another nearby village either. All the women and children migrated, and only we men remained in the houses. By God, I did not even close my eyes all night. They aimed the artillery directly and shelled this area, these locations, and even hit this house with field artillery and fired at the upper slopes. The situation was very bad last night. The oppressors targeted the village without considering whether they were hitting women or children, and many people were martyred. They showed no concern. The situation was very bad last night. There were victims among women and children. Some people came out in the evening, while others fled their homes during the night. Everyone remained outside throughout the night. A mortar struck the village at
the consequences go beyond destroyed homes. Hundreds of families have been forced to leave their villages and relocate to safer areas. Many are now living in temporary shelters, schools, or in the homes of relatives.
The time when we were trying to sleep, this incident began, but the fighting lasted the whole night. This specific incident happened around midnight. All the people fled. About 80 to 90 households lived here. Now it is raining, and there is no place for shelter or refuge. One house was completely destroyed, along with everything inside it. Around 200 to 250 livestock, big and small, were all lost. Another house was hit by a bomb and also suffered heavy damage. Everything was destroyed. The surrounding houses were also affected. Everyone, including women and children, completely were exhausted. The entire night passed with great difficulty, and many others suffered. As well, livestock, families, and people all endured severe hardship. What can we even say? You can see it yourselves.
People have also suffered significant economic losses. Agricultural lands have been damaged, property destroyed, and many livestock. Often the only source of income for families have been killed by shelling and explosions along roadsides and in courtyards. Seeing burned animals by the bullets of the Pakistani military regime is a painful reminder of the direct impact of war on civilian life.
Approximately 250 to 300 animals were lost, and about 6 to 8 people were injured. These were ordinary villagers. Some are wounded, and some have been martyred. Around 250 to 300 livestock were lost here and in the upper areas as well. We have confirmed 2 injured people, 1 woman and 1 man, and 1 house on top of the hill has been completely destroyed.
We are in the Lakan area of Khost. A school has been turned into a temporary shelter for displaced families. Classrooms that once echoed with students' lessons are now home to hundreds of families. Let us hear their stories up close. This is Lankan Central High School in Khost province, located near the border. As a result of the bombardment and mortar attacks, Afghan families have been forced to migrate and are now living in this school. We are going to hear about their pain, suffering, and the loss of their loved ones.
In
the end, Pakistan attacked residential homes in Zarkal. Some people were injured and martyred, and we were forced to relocate here. But eventually, the Pakistani government began shelling the village. When the shells started falling on the village, everything turned into fear and panic. People began running, leaving everything behind. We came out onto the roads, and now we are settled in Lakano High School. Everything else has been left at home. We have only brought ourselves here.
Displaced people say. Mortar shells hit our villages, our homes were destroyed, and we were forced to leave. Children who should have been studying are now living through these difficult conditions inside classrooms.
The shells landed just below our house. It was around the suhoor meal time when we had eaten, and then the attack started. There were screams everywhere, people were running in different directions, small explosions were hitting, someone's solar panels were struck. It was a dark night, some ran one way, others another. We only tried to save ourselves. Our homes and everything else were left behind. They destroyed our lives with these attacks. It was the holy month of Ramadan. First, they targeted the checkpoints, and after some time, they began shelling the houses. We had a very happy life, but they ruined it. It was our exam time. We were taking exams at school, but they forced us to flee and brought us to this situation. At first, Pakistan would fire at Afghanistan, and Afghanistan would fire at Pakistan. After some time, mortars and shells started falling on ordinary people, and anyone could be hit. Some girls were targeted, some people's solar panels were destroyed, some people's houses were destroyed, and some people's livestock were destroyed. When the attack happened, at first there was chaos and running everywhere. It was around sunset. No one knew who went where. The situation was completely different. Those who had vehicles left, and those who didn't stayed behind until around 12 or 1 at night. There was complete darkness and confusion. It was unclear whether it was ours or theirs. Nothing could be seen because it was night. By morning, it became clear whose it was. There was chaos and darkness. By morning, it became clear whose it was. There was chaos and darkness. Bullets were coming from the Pakistani side and were hitting civilian houses. 2 people were wounded, one of them a girl. This is the Lacano community. May God reward them. They have treated us very well. They gave us respect, whether in private or public places. They emptied rooms for us. They provide us with food, and whatever they can, they share with us. But the hardships are many. We have none of our household belongings. Everything was left behind, and the houses are destroyed. Personally, a mortar hit our house, my solar system is gone, and my home is destroyed. Our neighbors, whom I saw with my own eyes, moved their families. Even fires were burning. My sister's house, what we call a guest room or hujra, was hit and completely destroyed. The rooms are gone, the entire house is destroyed. Houses were set on fire, everything is completely ruined. People from the villages have come out into the city. Mortars are still falling in the villages. Everyone fled at night. Some left their shoes behind, some their clothes, everything was left, and people came empty-handed. Many even lost track of their children. 2 people are injured, and 1 woman has been martyred.
After interviewing displaced families, our journey takes us to Gurbouz district in Khost province, one of the closest areas
to the hypothetical line,
where the effects of war are deeply felt. Local residents say that the Pakistani military regime cannot confront Afghan defense forces directly along the
hypothetical line,
and therefore targets civilian homes inside Afghan territory.
We are at the closest point to the hypothetical line in Gurbouz district of Khost province, where a heavy clash took place between Afghan defense forces and the Pakistani military regime. It is reported that during this clash, Afghan forces destroyed several of their outposts.
دوی چې دی مخ د مثال په تور د میګ الحمدلله میګ مجاهدین سره کیم توان طاقت نه لري چې د مخ جنگ وسره وکي نو کوشش کوي چې دی مثال په تور ملکی خلک ته تکلیف وسوي.
They cannot fight our mujahideen face to face, so they try to harm civilians. Instead they want to create division between the people and the Islamic Emirate. For this reason, they target civilians everywhere. Those fighters at the borders cannot be confronted directly, so instead they martyr civilians and cause them suffering. This is happening in Nangarhar, in Paktika, and in many other places. In Kunar they target civilians everywhere. Our forces from the Ministry of Defense at borders, they cannot fight with us face to face. By the grace of God, even in this month of Ramadan, civilians are suffering and have left their homes.
دوی هیڅ کار دفاع نشي کړی د خدای په فضل کرم سره خو بس نه دوی نه دغه کې چې هات ته ملکی وطن نظر کاډه به زیاتې مثال په تور په داسې ولایت کې او وطن نظر کاډه چې دوی نه په تکلیف د رمضان کې خپل خونه پرې خدي خپل خونه وتلې دي مثال په تور.
خپل وطن دفاع حق ته وکور د خپل وطن دفاع وکي ځکه چې اخر څه سړی
We are defending our homeland. In the end, when a person cannot even stay in their home, they are forced to defend themselves. Certainly, war has no benefit. Neither for that side nor this side, but the Islamic Emirate is compelled to defend itself and fight. Shells fall here. These are blind shells, not aimed precisely wherever they land on someone's house, injuring women. These are not just animals or property. Everything is being destroyed night after night. People leave their homes, abandoning full houses behind. People are suffering greatly. They have committed many atrocities. They martyred these young men, shelled these lands, and targeted families. The next day, they even struck the mosque. By God, we hold our ears in fear, thinking whether a bomb or a mortar shell is about to fall. Every night feels like death. Otherwise, how would we die? From water? From bullets? From what will we die?
They say that although they are tired of war and no one desires it, but any aggression against their homeland must not go unanswered. Under this belief, the strong response by Afghan defense forces against Pakistani military forces and the Rad-ul-Zulm operations have revived people's confidence and strengthened their sense of security. Recently, Nangarhar province has also witnessed similar incidents in some areas. Signs of shelling are still visible. Residents say that indiscriminate mortar and artillery attacks by the Pakistani military regime have damaged homes and forced some families to leave. According to locals, the effects of war are not temporary. They create long-term problems that cast a deep shadow over people's lives. After documenting the stories of Pakistani military forces' brutality on civilians, our camera turns to the trenches of Afghan defense forces along the
hypothetical line.
These trenches, standing like steel walls on the shoulders of mountains, tell a story of constant vigilance. The presence of Afghan defense forces here is not just military. It is a living symbol of a nation's will, determination, and unbreakable faith. Each trench has its own story. Amid the cold of night, the heat of day, and the constant threat of danger, these forces stand like living shields to protect their land. Their eyes watch every movement of the enemy. Their fingers rest on triggers, moving only when necessary. But when that moment comes, their response is swift, precise, and decisive. No aggression goes unanswered here in these trenches. Soldiers fight not only with weapons, but with the love and trust of their people. They know that behind them stands a nation burdened by war, yet still alive with the spirit to resist any aggressor. These trenches turn the darkness of night into light, and these vigilant forces keep the sky of freedom bright over this land. Afghanistan has endured many trials throughout history, but one thing has never changed: this land will always remain free. It has never been conquered by any power, and it has proven time and again that invaders are brought to their knees with courage and resilience. Afghan defense forces stand strong, representing the hopes of a free nation. This land continues to give birth to stories of victory. Long live an independent Afghanistan, and its brave heroic defenders.